Today we're going to talk about another way to reduce anxiety. Probably you're going to find that I do a number of these. Um, Anxiety is sort of almost a person that we live with in the hazardous parenting world. When you're raising a child with extreme challenges, there's so many events, so many situations that for the parent create and just a terrible overload of stress. So you need a whole bunch of things in your toolbox to be able to decide what to use, when, and where. And this one is going to help you slow down and not respond quite as quickly. So when you know you've boarded that escalation train on the way to Uglyville, you can determine or slow down how you're going to respond to it. And this is an important thing to learn because the continuous overload of cortisol and adrenaline takes its toll on your body. It's really hard on your heart. It destroys your ability to sleep properly, adds weight to your body. That's terrible things, and you don't want it in 20 years when your child or youth has grown up or has resolved all their issues, that you're then dealing with heart problems or dementia or any of the other things that can happen from this chronic overload of really, really harmful hormones in your body. So let's start this one with, I want you to pick an event. One of the ones that pretty typically your heart rate is going straight up the minute it starts. Before you've even really noticed it or thought about it, your body is already responding. That's because your brain picks up the signals before your sort of the back part of your brain picks it up before your prefrontal cortex does, before you're really aware of it. So pick a typical event that sends you moving. Got it? That's great. Okay, now I'd like you to picture the first thing you notice, the part where you're first aware. Is it a tone of voice? Is it a situation? Is it a time of day? I don't know what it is in your life, but pick the thing that you know when you hear that or see that, something bad's going to happen. I'll give you a second. Okay, you got that? Now I'd like you to pick a memory about what your body does with that. It's the second step. Usually it means you've got to change position somehow. You've got to stand up, sit down, go to a different room, do something different than what you're doing. So what is the physical movement that typically follows? First, your recognition that something's going to happen. You're about to get on escalation train. And second, your body movement. Okay, now the next step is you're in face-to-face with the acting out person, with the exploding person. You don't need to go into the whole thing that happens there, but get yourself, you've got your first awareness of it, you've got your physical movement around it, now you're facing the person. Good. Okay, now comes the step where we learn how to get the brain to not react so fast. Remember, your brain habituates. So in trying to keep you alive and trying to keep you safe, your brain has become hyper alert and oversensitive to this particular explosive situation. We're going to take it back a few notches, help it to calm down so that the limbic part of your brain, the amygdala, the parts that react and send out the danger and save me signals don't need to go off, so that you can keep thinking. So the prefrontal lobes that allow you to reason, to maybe problem solve, to find other ways to get out of the situation, to use other skills you've been learning about how to handle an exploding situation, they can all take place. They can't take place if there's too much cortisol and too much adrenaline going through you. So what you're going to do is you're going to run through that scenario, but the first thing you're going to do is start with when you recognize that the first sign, picture your body stopping. Picture yourself just kind of sitting in place or standing in place. And what you can do with that right now is you're picturing it. Again, straighten your shoulders. You don't want to be hunched over like a victim. You don't want to be slumping as if you've given up. You want to be feeling strong. You want to be in a strong body posture, and you want to be allowing lots of oxygen to come in, get to those frontal lobes. Okay? Picture yourself not moving, just breathing, feeling strong and capable, or neutral if you need to feel neutral, but not reactive. You're not taking that second step to run. Count to 5. If you can, if in your situation you can go all the way to 10, do that. I know that in many situations you can't wait to 10. It'll be too dangerous. So then go for 5. The important thing is to put in some kind of a break between your first recognition and your first movement. Now, next thing I want you to do is picture yourself going to it, moving slowly. Probably you pretty typically boot it really quickly, but picture slow. Keep the breathing going and the good posture. That's right. Now picture yourself face to face with the person who's exploding or tempering or raging or whatever they're doing. Don't picture yourself talking or acting again. Just inhabit that space. You're just looking at them, you're just observing. You may only have a second, maybe you've got 10 seconds. Right now, go for 5. Practice this scenario over and over again. You want your brain to learn to not respond right away. Remember what I said, it's responding before you know it is. And we want it to not do that. We want it to take that 5 or 10 second break and allow you to just handle this in a more calm fashion. You don't want your heart beating, your pulse rate going, your breathing getting shallow, and your frontal lobe shutting off. We want it all calm. You're just going to inhabit your space, do your breathing. Doesn't mean you won't respond. It just means you won't respond in an anxious state. So let's just do a wee bit of tapping just to reinforce that. It won't hurt to do this as a tapping exercise too, to really further train your brain. So let's go. Even though I'm used to reacting, and my brain reacts before I even know it does, I can be calm in these situations. Even though my brain triggers its alarms before I know what's going on, I can train it to calm down. Even though my amygdala sets off all the alarms, all the alert systems to protect me before I consciously know what's happening, I can train my amygdala to let me handle this calmly. I don't need the cortisol. I don't need the adrenaline. I can be calm. These situations happen and my brain sees them before I know. My brain responds to save me before I know. I'm thankful for that. But I don't need that. I can have some moments of calm. I can retain my calm. Take a breath. Acknowledge whatever thoughts are going through your mind. I can stay calm. I can give myself 5 seconds. I can go over this exercise and over it and train my brain. I can use some cortisol, some adrenaline, just enough to keep me perky and alert, not enough to raise my blood pressure and my heart rate. I don't have to react unconsciously. I don't have to do damage to my body and my heart and my brain. I can take a breath. I can own my space. I can respond in a calm manner. I can slow down the escalation train. I don't have to end up in Uglyville. So keep on tapping. A 2-minute or 1-minute tap isn't going to do it, but that gives you an idea of how you can use it to train your brain. And it is trainable. Your mind, whatever that is, Daniel Siegel calls it the flow of information. I don't know what it is, but whatever that part of you that is separate just from the actual physical functioning of your brain, it can take over and it can train your amygdala to calm down. You just need that little bit of space, just that 5 seconds of space. and these situations, however horrible they are, won't scar you. Take care of yourself. You really are entitled to a better day.